Lebanese President Joseph Aoun met Donald Trump in the White House on July the 21st. Aoun told Trump and the press that he wants to end the state of hostility between Lebanon and Israel forever. When Aoun later spoke at the Lebanese embassy, he identified sovereignty with disarming non-state actors rather than liberation from foreign occupation. In line with Zionist claims, Aoun said the root cause of armed resistance is Hezbollah's religious ideology rather than Israeli occupation. The promotion of Zionist narratives and the push for normalization with the Israeli state is not just being done by Aoun. It has become widespread in Lebanese media and public discourse. Lebanese banker, for instance, and film producer Antoun Sahnawi is playing a central role. Recently, Sahnawi dined with Israeli Prime Minister and accused war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. The dinner marked the culmination of Sahnawi's concerted efforts to court Zionism. Back in 2010, Sahnawi was entangled in a shooting incident. He was later accused of financial wrongdoing before settling in the US. He went on to finance Israeli cultural propaganda and promote normalization discourse. Sahnawi's new partner and former US envoy to Lebanon, Morgan Ortagos, praised him. She said he was trained, this is her word, to be a supporter of the state of Israel. She was also proud to mention that Sahnawi comes from a family of, and I quote, committed Lebanese Christian Zionists. The Sahnawi's family affinity with Zionism, by the way, is not unique. Zionist relations with Lebanese elite families, public figures, and religious institutions precede Israel's creation and Lebanon's independence. They also cut across region and sect. Politically, Zionist leaders sought to break the isolation of their settler colony during the mandate period before World War II. They reportedly, based on archives, bankrolled several newspapers in Beirut. They also forged political bonds with Maronite elites, whom they saw as the power brokers in Lebanon. By invoking the logic of an alliance of minorities, the Zionist movement groomed figures such as Lebanese Mandate President Emil Iddi and Maronite Patriarch Antoine Arida. In 1946, for example, the Jewish Agency, which is the pre-state Zionist government at the time, signed a secret pact with the Maronite Church. In the pact, the church acknowledged the right to Jewish settlement and statehood in Palestine. The Zionist movement also built long-standing contacts with prominent Sunni political figures, such as Prime Ministers Khairuddin al-Ahdab and Riyad al-Salah. The latter was seen as an important player on the Arab stage. Economically, the Zionists wove contacts with Lebanese land-owning families. These include the Sursos, which were Greek Orthodox, the Salams and Bayhoms, which were Sunni, and the Asads, which were Shia. These families sold large tracts of land to the Zionists in the early stage of building the Zionist state. Zionist leaders like Chaim Weizmann and David Ben-Gurion were also keen to control vital freshwater sources, including Lebanon's Litani River and the tributaries of the Jordan River in the region of Jabal al-Sheikh or Mount Hermon. In terms of security-wise, the Zionists sought contacts with Shia and Druze notables who held sway near the borders with Mandate Palestine. These contacts were operative during periods of military activity, such as the Syro-Arab resistance against French occupation in the 1920s, the Great Syrian Revolt of 1925, the Palestinian Uprising of 1936, and the Arab-Israeli War of 1948. Money and threats of military action against these notables were used by the Zionists to either defend the Zionist settlements from rebel attacks or to deter these rebels from joining their comrades inside Palestine. Until the 1970s, Zionist ties to Lebanese elites were often secretive. This is because there was a lot of popular anti-Zionist sentiment in Lebanon and the wider Arab region. However, during the Lebanese Civil War, which broke in 1975, the war exposed the deepening alliance between Tel Aviv and Lebanese right-wing forces. These forces, including proxy militia in southern Lebanon and the Phalangist party based in Mount Lebanon and Beirut. The height of Zionist influence in Lebanon was reached after Israel's 1982 invasion. In 1983, Lebanon signed a normalization treaty with Israel known as the May 17 Agreement. The yes vote in parliament for this agreement by elites from all sects was near unanimous. But thanks to an armed uprising by popular forces the following year, as well as deadly attacks on the US and French military bases in Lebanon, the May 17 treaty was never implemented. Zionist influence in Lebanon was dealt a heavy blow. The subsequent liberation of southern Lebanon in 2000 by leftist and Islamist forces seemed to put the question to rest. But today, more than 4 decades after the May 17 agreement, normalization with Zionism in Lebanon has again reared its head. The trilateral framework that was signed in Washington last month between Lebanon and Israel with American support has effectively surrendered Lebanese sovereignty to Israel. The presence of Lebanese armed resistance, the fact that Lebanon is a weak central state, and the mobilization of popular opposition to normalization, all of these factors are putting brakes on the process of official normalization with Israel. But Lebanon should not and may not be capable of fighting normalization alone. Long-term opposition to Lebanese normalization is equally dependent on a reversal of Israel's geopolitical gains in the region. That would include undoing decades of normalization with Egypt, Jordan, and the Palestinian Authority, and most importantly, in the case of Lebanon, a turnaround in Syria's accommodating stance towards Israel. In short, the complicity and emboldening of Lebanese elites to normalize is part of the broader complicity of ruling Arab elites. With southern Lebanon today acting as the last active front of resistance against Israeli expansionism along the borders of Palestine, forsaking anti-normalization forces in Lebanon is forsaking Palestine.